Yeah, there's the recording was uploaded today. I think there's a lot of talk which you can skip also, but in essence, it was inspiring us to consider some change to the scoring mechanism and the budget allocation between tech ops and product development. It's just not an easy decision to take, and we are currently collecting some data, stats, information to make a good decision on that. I'm also
in what way were you discussing that? I haven't listened to it. I uploaded it when was it accessed, like 4 days ago, and I just haven't shared it.
Okay. Yeah, where do you start that?
Well, my main point was that Sweden shouldn't be included. That was the only point I made.
Did you see the thumbnail, Michael?
I have tried really hard to see it, but my computer will not render the thumbnail. It just goes straight to the video, but I have a bad feeling that it's me.
Yeah, it's a thumbnail of you.
I cannot get to see that stupid thumbnail. I've tried a couple of times, but I gave up. So
same here. Just couldn't view it on mobile. Yeah, back to your question, Anders.
I'll grab and post it in a bit.
Thanks, Nick.
You know, we iterate over the issue that we are probably providing too many APIs publicly. That has a cost factor. And we want to change that because providing public infrastructure hasn't been focusing on providing qualitatively high levels of API availability and reliability, but instead it has the old system, or the current system is incentivizing quantity of APIs that we serve publicly, right? Meaning a lot of guilds spin up Hyperion history solutions for the points, atomic assets APIs for the points. That all has a cost to it. It is in some cases painful for guilds that don't want to bother with the infrastructure, but instead focus on product development. But as it is right now, the current system clearly incentivizes you to do both, provide good tech ops reliably, and also requires you to develop products or ecosystem contributions to receive a score, to make it into a certain position, be it standby through the minimum requirements or top 21. And yeah, my personal opinion on this is it's a little bit inefficient, right? That was the main concern that's leading to overthinking how do we incentivize tech ops and how do we incentivize product development on Wax. The clear downside to the current system is your score is composed of 50-50. So you need the tech ops and you need some form of product development. But it's highly doubtful that we need 21, was it, I think, was the number? 21 full Hyperions in the network, for example. There is 30-something atomic assets APIs, public endpoints. That's simply not efficient, right?
No. That has been a topic in the past as well, many times. Yeah.
We have been iterating.
People just spin things up for the reason to get scores. That's why our team has argued that the scoring system is not optimal because it incentivizes doing things like this.
Exactly. I do the opposite. I build something to have to get the points because y'all make me.
Because whatever is rated is what you will see.
Yeah, the idea was to, so why did we require, or why did we want guilds to build products? We didn't want to have a guild roster composed of only technical affine guilds providing infrastructure for Score and then not engaging in growing the community on Wax, the ecosystem.
I think it comes down to the other way, because the original white paper for Wax was guilds are product owners, and being block producers comes second.
Yes.
And then when the chain launched, we started with all the guilds coming in from the technical side because they had the experience from launching EOS first. This put the whole system a bit on the head over toes.
Well, I think it's not a normal node. I mean, I think maybe in the original concept, it was like running a Geth node or a normal validator node. Infrastructure for this network is on a whole nother level. So,
yeah, originally it was only about running the producer and the RPC node, nothing else. So, and then we started to extend this because we realized we need more infrastructure, we need other endpoints. And that's how the whole thing developed.
Then your chain blew up, and now it requires, a mini quantum computer to be able to spin up a node.
I think the requirements for running infrastructure on Wax were never light, if you want to call it that.
Oh, they were light. I can tell you that there was a moment in April of 21 when shit changed. In April and then about August, because it just crushed all the machines that weren't prepared. So, I vividly remember it. No, there was a time you could run this thing on a Raspberry Pi.
I'd agree fully on the hardware requirements, but I suspect it's only half the cost for putting up the infrastructure, because you need a sysadmin to manage all of that. You need a sysadmin to resolve issues, which we
technically
had a lot of.
It's a hell of a lot easier now than it used to be, because it used to be really bad. It's not that it's good, it's that it was really bad.
On that side, we have come a long way. Look at the quality of infrastructure that is publicly available nowadays. It surely has to do with the maturity of the software that's being improved week over week.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. But we carry a lot of weight with us, many transactions, and we want to have publicly available history solutions. And that wasn't so satisfied in 2020 or 2021, I believe. Now we are a little bit oversaturated on that side. And you have talks with guilds everywhere and then. I still hear that there is some pain involved in learning how all of that works, troubleshooting every there and then because your node fails for whatever reason.
Do you know why it's troubling?
Why?
Because you are encouraged to split your attention and time into different things.
Well, that's a good point. So what you mean is, if I'm a sysadmin and I became a guild on Wax, I should focus only on providing my infrastructure and my APIs, which is my best skill.
And services around that.
Yeah.
And instead you pretty much have to have either yourself or someone in your team or someone you pay for has to build products for you to be in the top.
You know, in a sense, for me, if the best a guild can contribute to Wax is a reliable and scalable infrastructure public, I see some similarities with providing a product on Wax to whoever it is. either developers or consumers or whoever, right? So that's what I'm hoping for, that we can find a way to have some guilds provide Hyperions, full Hyperions. I don't know how many we need of those, but make it a product score for them to provide those Hyperions, to provide the backups for those Hyperions. Just throwing in some of the ideas around that. All debatable. I think it would also make sense if you all just...
It's difficult in the current system.
In the current system, it's difficult. Why?
How it's rated and everything. You need to redo a lot of the structure of it.
That's not entirely true. Or okay, let me give you another perspective on that. Like if we have a budget for a guild and the guild earns the top 21 budget by having 200 points, we can clearly say a point is worth X amount of dollars, right? And then if we can roughly agree on a price for providing full Hyperion history publicly, we can match the cost and the reward for providing it with product points, which are worth that amount of funding. Correct?
I don't think it's very. I like it. I don't think it's simple.
I doubt any decision that we're going to make next is simple and easy and essentially going to break the system in a few details, but that way you would be able to say this guild's value is tech ops and I'm rewarding it product points for it, and you have others that don't want to put up the infrastructure but want to develop, bring values to wax. That's one. Another thing that comment is also in the chat by Include Null, complete separation of those both. Two-track system.
I feel like one thing I'm missing is why we're having this discussion. We're having it all over again. Maybe we should have it as a GitHub discussion, because right now I don't really see an issue. I don't see guilds that provide infra being underfunded. I don't see product guilds having trouble providing infra. So I don't really see a problem with the system as is. Of course, we can improve stuff, but maybe we should define what we actually want to solve.
Agreed.
Because we keep having this discussion, but I don't see what we actually want to solve, aside of, yes, we have too many Hyperions, and I don't see a real, actual, actionable issue right now.
Okay, so what I would like to improve is what qualifies you as a guild on Wax. So I want those people to, I want those developers or the next guilds to be able to get funding from the chain to bring value to the chain without needing to run neither Atomic Assets API, no Light API, no IPFS, nothing.
I don't think this will bring new teams.
They wouldn't, certainly they wouldn't receive the same funding as a standby guild at the moment with a 125 point threshold, but you could essentially incentivize or fund those projects without them needing to put up 1K a month in.
So you want more people resources that are sysadmins?
No, less.
No, you're saying the other way.
But but you're trying to get more guilds to run producers and infrastructure because he wants.
He's saying the other way around.
Yeah, but he also says he wants new teams. He wants new teams to come, and this is an incentive for them to come and join.
He wants to have teams that build products but don't run infrastructure.
Exactly. Right. And if they only earn like 30 points on the product development, so be it. They don't need to reach 125 by providing the infrastructure. We can pay them by providing products worth 30 points, and that's it.
But you also want them to be able to run the infrastructure properly.
Only in RPC node, because what is a guild roster with 21 full Hyperions and 30 atomic assets APIs?
That's not what I'm talking about, though.
Yeah, but that's one of the problems we're trying to solve here.
I think you are focusing on the wrong thing. How can we get more teams building things on Wax is the right question.
I'm
by
sure
providing an easier mechanism for funding, which is exactly what I think he's trying to say.
By running a guild, getting a production node set up.
No, what he at least the way I keep understanding it, what he's saying is what we've always kind of said, is that there are value providers that are trying to get funding from the chain. But the only mechanism that you can get funding from the chain is as a block producer. Well, we bundled it all together and said to be a block producer, you've got to run high-end hardware, you got to be a sysadmin. Oh, and then you'll make some money for the product that you want to build. But if you carve the two separate and say literally, just if you want to build a product, come build product. If you want to get some funding, bad news. You don't have a new atomic asset. You're not going to get 500 points for it. But if you get 30 points for it, maybe you get $30 for it, as opposed to $500, whatever type of scaling. But decouple the whole mechanic of all the infrastructure from value add providers is that you want more people to build shit. Nobody's going to build shit without funding. But the people that are building shit are spending all their funding on servers because we're making them. Go ahead and pick.
The only issue I see with that is that we probably see an influx of products and we all have to probably rate them accordingly. And having like this little threshold as a guild is at least a kind of seriousness to it that they have to.
If you want new, you're going to have to deal with the volume. If you don't want new and you just want to stick with, you know, the
we would have every game on Wax apply as a guild. We would have.
They can apply for funding, be rated, and if they provide value, just like we have a current system for it, they could get some funding. In my opinion, not people's opinion, but decoupling the infrastructure. That's more. The people that are looking for funding are having to spend at least half of the funds that they get doing something they don't want to do, paying for servers and running servers, when literally they just want to develop their product.
Yeah, the point with this was that it was expected to be the other way around. If you have a guild that has a product, because they have a product first, then they need the infrastructure to run their own product. And the guild rewards they would then receive would subsidize the cost they have anyway for running and operating their product.
In the 2021 I'm not sure that worked like you wanted. It doesn't seem to have worked out that way. I hear you. That was the idea. But you don't need more infrastructure providers. You need more value providers. There's no more money. Matter of fact, we need to be less money. And all we're doing is, if you want to add a new value provider, you're about to add a new Hyperion server. So
no.
But if they want to get
what Michael means is and what I mean also is the current threshold for a standby guild is 125, and that means you need at least 1 point inside a contribution, and you can look at the list of contributions and see what's worth what. Roughly, you need a point, but you need also 100 points in tech ops, or you need 2 points on the product side, which is 48 in total. No, it's not even, it's 24 in total, right? So, sorry, I was wrong. You need 2 points on the product side, and then you need 101 points on the tech ops side. But I come to Wax, I want to build something awesome for the community, a product.
But is this not just simply solved by making Wax Labs efficient? Like, if you actually take care of Wax Labs, you have the same amount of work than just reviewing every product that applies to become a guild.
Let me tell you what that would mean for your guild, for example. Okay, a guild like yours with many points on the product side, you wouldn't need to run any bit of infrastructure on Wax anymore. And you would receive probably still the majority of funding. Yeah, okay. RPC node,
most products that are like at least have a decent amount of traffic.
Well, I don't know about that. A lot of people have shifted back to using public nodes and just dealt with the nuances, node selectors, rate limits, but different opinions.
What about?
And you'd still have a lot of points on the product side, and you would even get paid on the tech ops side to provide the infrastructure to your own product, which is
the only
at the same time
that I saw in the recent times was Wax on Edge, and they now become integrated with Nifty blocks because they need their dedicated nodes, and so the trend seems to be like products that launch go to some block producer.
Yes, I've got dozens of projects that are using our free nodes now, but I mean,
for example,
not everybody needs high level. They just need something more reliable than a public API that's going to rate limit them. But they have no mechanism to receive any funding. I mean, if you want to encourage value add providers, you need to have some mechanism to encourage value add providers. Right now, the only mechanism for them to come and get any value provided to them is to become a VP and then waste half of the value that they get on meeting the minimum requirements for infrastructure that we all agree we probably don't even need.
Well, I'm not entirely sure. Like, we still have open slots, right? What if the traffic increases again? Are the nodes that the handful of block producers that are here right now enough for, I don't know, whatever happens on Wax if the bull market comes? And
I think you can answer that.
Providers are ready. I got public nodes that take millions. I offer semi-private nodes. I offer private nodes. I mean, I feel like we're as prepared as we're going to be, but what we are doing is wasting a lot of money. They could probably go to some value providers more so than a 21st Hyperion server.
I also imagine
question about the Hyperion stuff. Is this not like they've taken a bit of a break for the last months, but didn't we say we have a couple of dedicated Hyperions that bunch of
they are 21 at the moment.
It's a good example. I mean, say Atomic Assets. Maybe that's a better example because there's 30 Atomic Asset APIs probably out there.
Right.
But
ours is pretty much used. I don't know.
Oh, ours gets hammered too. But do you really need 30? I mean, that's the point. Is that for a new value provider to come on, they have to provide the 31st Atomic API and a sysadmin to do it, and the infrastructure, and now the time and knowledge. Why?
In reality, it will never be easy to fund a product through the guild roster. I think it's unrealistic with what you earn as a standby guild on Wax to take that as a budget for product development of a digital product. So that's where Include Null's comment in the chat is completely right. The guild roster is not funding new projects, or its focus is not funding new projects, but funding the maintenance of those products on Wax. And whatever is left over, guilds typically put into developing new stuff for the ecosystem, right?
Yep, but it's just so we still have open guild slots, and so far, even though it's a pretty lucrative business to start a guild, like people are not doing it, even with with a product, they could easily get people who know how to set up a node.
Yeah, the issue is many are experts on different fields than sys administration. That's, I think, the reality of developers. And even though I am a software developer and I know a little bit about the tech, about the sysadmin side, I could pull that off, but it will just be pain for me to learn a lot of that stuff and to keep up with issues that come up every day.
We wouldn't want you as a guild, though.
Yeah, I couldn't apply as an IG, but of course.
No, but we wouldn't want you as a BP if you don't have the interest to operate the block producers properly.
Right. I'd rather you be a value provider. Go build some cool shit to use our infrastructure that Anders and I have no problem running for you.
Yeah, that's where I see me fitting best, personally.
Right. Now I'm on the other side. You don't want me writing your code. I mean, I'll be happy to break it.
For me, I don't really understand why this topic is focused on right now. I mean, we have Wax Labs to fund products, and it's better to push those that want to build products there and use Wax Labs in a better way.
If Wax Labs were a better mechanism to onboard value providers, potentially, but unless it's dramatically changed.
Well, the other thing is that if we break it down by product and then pay for product with like $500 per month or so, you also can't do a lot. Maybe some people, maybe in some countries, but if we change and break up the whole system to make this new change, and we say, okay, now we provide value to product developers, but then we say we pay them $500 per month or something, for as long as the product seems valuable, do we really get a lot of quality product with that? With 500? Or what are we talking about?
I think in the first place we are maintaining that community, incentivizing, rewarding that community through such a mechanism. I don't think you fund a big pool of rewards for those communities, but I think you can support them to develop stuff for their community, which in return will potentially grow the community, draw in more people, fill their war chest.
I mean, with the block user funding, you can at least be serious about developing something, but I don't know. With like value providers,
I think that path is still open if you start a project through Wax Labs and it grows and it becomes a crucial part of the Wax ecosystem, engages with a lot of people, draws in people from outside of Wax.
But with the amount we're paying in Wax Lab, it's not, I don't really see that. Like maybe some people are here and can do something in their free time, and a lot of the products look like people built them in their free time. But we don't really get any big projects on with that. Not with like $10,000 funding, or these are like kind of starter helps, you know?
Here, Ben, let me ask you this. How much money is enough for you to take risks and throw some around just to see what happens? Is there a number that exists for you? Because it's like, well, here, I'll let you answer first. If there is a number that exists for you.
What do you mean, like money that I have to risk losing, or what?
That you would be okay with investing in whatever new product, new prospect that you're building, you know, call it like a development cost, you know, and hey, it might pop off, it might not. That's part of developing a new product, right? So right. Does that number exist?
Like one would have to pay me upfront for me to start developing it, or I have to take my own money, and so I'm living paycheck to paycheck. So I don't know, probably I don't really have
Fair enough.
the ability.
Fair enough.
To...
So the point I'm trying to make is that there's really no actual like amount where like you're ever going to reach where it's like, oh well, now we can start, you know, taking big risks. Maybe that changes. Granted, you know, paycheck to paycheck is difficult for sure, but that will never really, you know, like you gotta just take the risks whenever you can. Now, when I look at like value providers versus infrastructure providers, like the infra people, without, you know, you can't build a house without like a steady ground. Now, not trying to say also, like, well, what? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a bit of a worry if we simply split those two camps and say, oh, we have the infra providers and we're paying most of the funding to infra providers to cover their hardware and their sysadmin skills. A lot of people just sit on the sidelines and just watch the service and they don't do anything on Wax. Is this what we're aiming for?
The other way. Put the majority of the funding towards the value providers and just make the infrastructure providers compete for who can do it for the best service for the lowest required amount of value or funding. I mean, you're right. Not everybody's going to want to do it.
What effort does it take to stay as an infra provider?
I mean, it's my full-time job. I'm not sure what you're asking.
But yeah, but how many chains are you operating?
I capitalize on my expertise and services I provide, but I'm not sure.
Wax is the biggest amount, or?
Oh, Wax by far uses more hardware and effort than any other chain.
Yes, but also pays the most.
No, that is not correct.
Oh, then let us know.
I know, right? Well, but they pay decent, but no, they're not the highest paying chain. But they do require the most hardware.
I'm just worried that some people will just set up their hardware on Wax and then install their monitoring service, and it's going to be that.
If they can provide good, reliable infrastructure and they get paid for it.
We talked about.
We currently don't struggle with the infrastructure. Wax is still.
You're right. We pay way too many people to do it.
I think also to align the positions here, we talked about the lever last week that we have to put the incentives, which is on a 2-track system, you would allocate the budget differently, or you have the opportunity to allocate the budget differently.
I just don't think we have much room to move. If we are like it's only Wax provider at the moment, maybe it makes sense for people who run like a lot of chains, but I don't know.
Infrastructure providers are infrastructure providers. I mean, we make our decisions. We can survive off of less paycheck if I don't have to also do development. Just like I would venture to say, a lot of those value providers would be able to survive off of less total revenue from the chain if they weren't also forced to do these other things that they did.
Talking about like product development, like actually the like on product, it was like that's actually a full-time job.
Yes, keep them doing that.
That's for one product, not for maybe a couple, but there you have to actually sit every day and develop something.
Right. So, don't waste your time doing infrastructure. Are we not saying the same thing?
That's my point. Nobody's wasting their time doing infrastructure.
We are. We're forcing 21 people to run Hyperion and 30 some odd people to run.
Hyperion, okay, total time of Hyperion maintenance over the last 3 months will cover maybe 8 hours or so.
For you?
Yeah, I was about to say, if you really want to go down this rabbit hole, I spent a fuckload more time supporting everybody else's Hyperion. So don't even come at me with, it's easy to run Hyperion. ROS provides you backups and other people provide you support whenever it breaks. Don't come at me with it's easy. Same thing on your nodes. Secondly, the cost, man. Why are you forcing people to take half of their paycheck for value add and spend it on exactly what you started this whole conversation a couple of weeks ago saying, I'm not going to run the Hyperion stack anymore,
to be honest,
because it's cheaper.
Only push for you.
That's not true, Ben. You literally said, I'm spinning down my full Hyperion server and I'm going to partial Hyperion because it's cheaper and it's not worth the points. And we started this conversation. So if you really want to go back and replay it, you can. But
yeah, but isn't that what we're supposed to do? Like, if we don't need the nodes, so like we spin them down.
What you would never spin them down for
conversation, man.
Please don't pause on it, especially with the stupid giggling. What did you say?
What I said is
yeah, no need to insult people, Ben.
Yeah, let's
don't laugh at like fucking.
Okay, it's over now. The thing is, while this maybe not concern the top 21 that much, it's a concern for all the sandbaggers.
I will leave also, by the way.